day. Welcome to Music Motors and welcome to the 2019 Citroen Berlingo. The Berlingo is a multi-use vehicle. You don't just get it as a passenger vehicle, you get it as a commercial vehicle. Realistically, it's a vehicle which has a lot of different uses. So in the UK, you'll see a lot of them converted into wheelchair/mobility vehicles because it just has such a utility-capable vehicle. The Berlingo has been around for a multitude of years, and realistically, with prices starting at around £20,000 on the road, it is a very affordable utility vehicle. This one's powered by a 1.2 three-cylinder motor, which has about 110 PS, 250 Newton meters of torque. So welcome to Music Motors and welcome to a different review talking about an extremely practical vehicle. Now, stylistically, the current Berlingo is a little bit Marmite. Previous generations' front end was nicely refined and had good French styling cues. Now, the new design is still a Citroen design language. It's a design language that we see throughout so many different variants of cars, and the only way that I can say it currently looks front end wise is like a C3 Aircross, so the proportions aren't quite right. From my point of view, I think the front end is a big step back from the previous design. The previous design was sleek and nicely finished, and whilst I can appreciate it is the new Citroen design language, for me it's not the prettiest of the bunch. Side profile wise, it hasn't really changed too much. Diamond cut alloys, at least on the flare, mean that things look a little bit more premium, a bit more sporty, a bit more luxurious, and the back end has the same sort of light cluster as we've had before, but stretched out. They're longer, easier for people to see, and it means that this is a vehicle which can be seen on the road. From the front end, you can be seen on the road with very bright DRLs and a very, let's be honest, it isn't a bad designed front end. It's just, if I compare it to a C5 Aircross, the C5 has bigger sweeping lines, less of a harsh front end, which results in this new design language working considerably better. I can only liken this to a C5 Aircross. It's by no means an ugly vehicle, and by all means superbly practical in the way it looks, and the size of the vehicle isn't so big that it's a monstrosity on the road. However, it is definitely bigger than previous generations of Berlingo. If you put this alongside a mid-2000s Berlingo, you wouldn't be able to tell that they were effectively the same model of car, because it looks like this one's had a few too many Krispy Kremes over the years. I speak from experience. Everyday test. This is finding out what you average in the real world. So my gig test. Equipment in the back I will show you in a bit. Onto my first part of the day, and basically just seeing how it does on A roads, B roads, back roads, everything combined. So I'll see you at my first stop. So far 40.8 miles to the gallon, which isn't bad considering what a small engine and such a big car, but only time will tell and the end result will be shown at the end of the day. So I've got a few hours here and then we will continue. Okay, it's the next part of the day, so it's on to the gig. I'm running out of batteries desperately in the GoPro, but I do have some more in the back. So far, fuel economy's been pretty good and it's been pretty comfortable. So let's get onto some now just motorway driving within reason. Arrived to the gig so far, very comfy, and 39 miles to the gallon total combined for all that different type of driving I've been doing. The biggest thing I've noticed is on the motorway that engine does struggle just a little bit when it comes to overtaking and maintaining a 70 mile an hour speed. Aside from that, pretty easy going, not the most frugal. The diesel will definitely be better for around town driving. It's going to be cheaper to run in the long haul. So onto the gig and then home time. decided it would make a bit more sense to do the summary the next day when I'm not so tired. The biggest thing I found is that this is a superbly comfortable vehicle for the long journeys, and I averaged around about 40 miles per gallon for the whole duration. It was over 100 miles that I did. However, the biggest thing I found is that this 1.2 litre on the motorway does struggle. Longer hills, it does struggle. This vehicle is definitely more suited to a diesel. I'm not saying it's bad, it is definitely a good engine, but it's more suited when it's got a diesel in it. But aside from that, it's comfortable, it's cosy, everything's at your fingertips, there's loads of space. This is a very nice place to be on a long journey. When you get inside, you realise that bigger exterior is bigger for a reason, because this is substantially bigger inside as well, offering you bundles of luxury, to be fair. It's an easy access to get into all round, and the rear sliding doors mean that even in tighter car parks, especially if you're thinking about using this as a family car, the rear doors, you have to worry about them swinging open, smashing into things when the kids fling them open, not considering the car next to them or your doors. But more about the front end. It's very spacious, loads and loads of headroom, bundles of storage, nice mood lighting. However, the mood lighting can be a little bit distracting at night, so I did tend to turn that off. Visibility all round is very, very good considering the size of the vehicle. Now, to be fair, there is a very big A pillar here, but it never really showed itself to be too, well, it never really got in the way. I'm going to be honest, I never really struggled because the windscreen is so massively big that you kind of saw everything, so when it was in your blind spot you already knew it was there. Big wing mirrors, double windows at the front mean that I guess you've kind of eliminated that front end blind spot a little bit more. There's no blind spot above because, well, there's loads of room. When it comes to your rear seats, well, you can have this as a 5 or a 7 seat option. This is a 5. However, the one thing I will note, and it is quite impressive, and when it comes to a family point of view and you want to keep those kids entertained and they've got their stuff in front of them, sometimes you have to buy the tray tables. No worry about buying tray tables to put in the back of your vehicle, because this comes with tray tables that flip up as standard, something quite cool from a family point of view. And back there, loads of room. It's very usable space. It's very comfortable on long journeys. It's very comfortable, very quiet. It feels extremely safe. The boot space is phenomenal. You won't be able to max it out, let's be honest, because this is, I call it a van that's been converted. It has all that van utility, but now getting onto that van that's been converted, it actually isn't. This is using the PSA platform that you'll see on a multitude of PSA vehicles. So really, it's a car which has been made to do van things, but when they've designed it, they've kept van things in mind. The storage bins are everywhere. They take everything you could possibly want. Sound system is very good. Infotainment, very easy to use. It's at times a little cumbersome to go through to select certain elements, but within reason it is relatively idiot proof. Even for the most untech savvy of us out there, you'll be able to use it with ease. Everything else is at your fingertips, and really I just found it a very pleasant place to be, a very pleasant place to drive, which gave you a relatively premium finish for a non-premium price. Although there is a lot of plastics, it's soft touching plastics and it's hard wearing plastics that are going to really stand the test of time quite well. Generally, the interior was really, really good. Performance wise is where the Berlingo isn't really known for performance, and when it comes to cornering, because it's the shared platform throughout so many vehicles in the PSA group, it handles really, really well. You don't feel too much body roll. The gearbox feels lovely. The 6-speed manual feels really, really lovely. The engine lets it down a little bit though. So performance-wise, 110 PS, 250 Newton meters of torque, 11.5 to 62, and you top out about 109 miles an hour. So not bad for a 1.2 3-cylinder petrol engine. Within reason, it's actually quite peppy around town. However, on the motorway, you will start to feel the weight of the vehicle. If you're driving around town, this petrol is more than good enough if you don't do a lot of long runs especially. But if you find yourself driving on the motorway, I really do implore you to go for one of the diesel options. And also, the auto boxes are just as fantastic as this manual is. So realistically, no matter what you go for, you're going to be quite happy, if I can be totally honest with you. I suppose then really the big thing to note is that this doesn't drive like Berlingos of the past. Berlingos of the past drove like vans that have been turned into cars. They understeered, They felt utterly gutless, and they just weren't fun to drive. And this now, I won't go so far as to say sporty to drive, but it's definitely considerably more engaging than any previous generation Berlingo that we've had before, with great visibility, good response times. It's a very reasonable car to drive, given the purpose that it's intended to be used for. Economy wise, they reckon that you're going to average anywhere between 38 to 42 combined, and within reason that's achievable. Around town you're more likely to see around 30. On the motorway you're more likely to see about 45, 46. However, the claim of 50 isn't quite achievable on a normal motorway run. If you're talking about driving at 70 miles an hour, you're not going to be able to get that. If you drive at 55 and turn into a pest to everyone else on the road, then yeah, totally achievable. However, as a 1.2 3-cylinder petrol goes, it's quite frugal considering the size of this vehicle. It's just on those motorway runs, when you're trying to get really good economy, you hit any big hills, the economy drops because the engine really has to work overtime, shall we say, to actually get anywhere. Otherwise, from a performance point of view, I like it, and from an economy point of view, it's very good. So the Berlingo, it's been around for as many years as I can count. From growing up, I've always remembered there being Berlingos around, and now Citroen have decided to make it so good that it can fit into any lifestyle, because really it kind of can. You can park it anywhere, you can ask it to do anything, and there's so many different variants and engine choices that you can get currently that it's a no-brainer to want to have one of these. So much utility as a family car goes, it's brilliant. As a commercial vehicle goes, really good. Stylistically not quite my favourite, however as a commercial vehicle that front end does look better, it just doesn't look so good with all the glass. It's a vehicle which is as apt in doing normal life things as it is on going on massively long road trips and ending up at Tesco's at the end of the day. Other supermarkets are available. It's really capable and really decent. It's not a fun vehicle, but it's a grown-up vehicle, and it's not trying to be something else. The Berlingo is a true to itself vehicle. It's not trying to impress you in being shouty and impress you in being loud and handling like it's on rails. It's just trying to be an honest vehicle. As I say, I'm good at my job, because it's exactly that. It's really good at its job.